Blood alloy. What is it? This is blood alloy. Alright, now I'm gonna give Frank a call. And get him on the air. I met Frank. Ooh. Frank, I cannot hear you.
Test.
There we go.
Test.
Yes.
There we go. Okay.
Frank, I think you didn't actually have your mic plugged in.
I did have it plugged in, but what happened is I then unplugged it and plugged it back in.
Okay, so for those of you in the stream, let me know how Frank's volume is compared to mine, if it needs to be increased or whatnot. And then what we are going to do is go ahead and bring up your game, Blood Alloy.
Blood Alloy. Come here. I also have 2 fart buckets of corgis here. There we go.
Oops. They say your volume is a little bit lower. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is open your game in window mode.
Okay.
So I can still adjust the volume. And I think you hold Alt. How do you do that? You hold Alt Tab?
To open up in window mode? Yeah, I'm not sure. I actually guess just kind of... everyone has dual screen setups. Let me look. I'll look. Also, I'm gonna jam this microphone in my mouth.
Okay, actually, no, it's fine. We'll just adjust it here so it's not...
Yeah.
I just don't want it to be too loud compared to your voice.
Right,
So
right.
Alright, I've increased your volume, so I think you should be a lot more... Alright.
Alright. Alt enter on launch.
Alt plus enter on launch.
Yeah.
Alright, so I did... So I guess, okay, a bit of history is we met at
Indicate East.
Indicate East back in 2014.
14.
Yeah, that was one of my first game events outside of Chicago. Actually, it was my first game event outside of Chicago. And I met Frank, and he totally fanboyed over me.
I don't even know, you have, your glasses are incredibly distinct, and I was following everyone on Twitter, you know, when you're going between talks and everything, you just kind of habitually check your phone, and I see, like, oh, Indicate East, hashtag, whatever, and then this guy, Willie, he is here, and I see your tweets everywhere, and then I see you in person, and I'm just trying to be not a social reject, and just be like, hey, I see your tweets, tell me about your game, you're Willie. Your game looks good. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
And so out of that very awkward introduction, a somewhat awkward friendship has blossomed, where we are constantly awkward about each other.
Just you.
Okay, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just all in my head.
So yeah, well, Frank's been working on this game, Blood Alloy, for a while.
We clearly have our menu is clearly top notch. You know, ready to ship tomorrow.
What is this thing down here on the quit?
On the quit. Oh, that's your high score. That little 0. That's your high score.
Oh, that's my high score. Oh, I see. It's
So your high score is 0.
Yeah. I thought that was a door because the inside of the queue is like.
Nah. No. Willie, have you gotten a chance to go through the tutorial yet?
No, because I wanted to.
Okay.
Show everything. No, I wanted to have like the first do it fresh.
Absolutely. Okay, so this will be hilarious and harsh, and this will be good because I need feedback on the tutorial anyway. My only caveat is that apparently some people are getting this weird bug that actually is preventing them from finishing the tutorial entirely. And if that, I'll just watch you play it, and if that happens, I'll be like, yep, right. I'll just tell you how to do the rest of the abilities, and then yeah.
And there's no there's no significance as to why the equipment is.
No.
Okay.
No, that is the artist who did all that nice text left the project a couple months, and I was like, crap, I need an equipment screen. So that was my MS Paint stuff. So I promise that those of you watching, the actual gameplay that you'll see is like maybe like 10% more polished than this, just a little bit.
All right.
Just a little bit.
The one thing, just some visual feedback is I think the logo could be bigger or something.
Yeah,
The menu
this
text is really big compared to that. It's in fact, I think it might be. No, it's not bigger, but actually might be. I think the R is like taller than the O in Blood.
Yeah, we've done some work on the logo. There's a new logo already. I think the image that you had on the screen earlier already had a different version of the logo, because the B and the D and the A, they all look a little bit confusing, and the colors are not as striking as they could be.
It looks like that looks like a B, the D and the A.
Yeah, exactly.
Blood Bloy.
I mean the next logical step is to make it like metalhead text, so it's actually completely illegible. But yeah, we're running past on that.
But
so
why
don't you go
with
through the tutorial?
Okay.
Yeah, let's start the tutorial.
Welcome to the Blood Alloy tutorial. Oh, I see.
Oh, this is because our Google Hangout chat is like 45 seconds behind the Twitch stream footage, so I'm hearing you react to things and I'm not seeing it. I'm like, what?
Actually, let me do the screen share on my main screen.
Okay, so I can actually react to you visually.
Yeah, can you see
it?
The
X is covering the text. Yep. Main GI and Edifier. This is all the menu and the tutorial are very very placeholder. A lot of the effort that we spent in the past like year and a half, almost 2 years, has been like exclusively tuning gameplay. Like just really, really savagely tuning like all the gameplay aspects, which is why I was looking forward to actually getting Willie on stream here, because Willie's had to go through some of that relentless feedback and iteration.
And I played this very, very briefly at GDC a year ago, but not like for like 20 seconds. So I do think your menu placement, I know it's temporary, but I think you should move it right now just because it's actually in the way of...
Yeah.
Like, I can't see the player. So
yeah,
I'm using W to jump, and then mouse 2. And it's got a... What is that, like a 5 degree? No, not... Because that's 45, so you're...
I think there are 16 aiming sprites, but you can the actual accuracy is it is true 360. It's just that we have different sprites for everything in between.
To attack with your sword. I'm not sure. I don't think you should. So, the thing about the dash is it's Q, E, and F. Why all 3 buttons?
Just because. So, initially W was jump. Then, cause I'm a console gamer, and then when I play games on the PC, they tend to be smaller indie games, so I'm used to W being jump. As it turns out, anyone who spends a long amount of time playing first-person shooters on PC, inherently has spacebar being jump, ingrained in their muscle memory. And so my 2 primary action buttons were going to be shift and spacebar. But if people are using spacebar for jump, it's
well, I mean, why do you have 3 buttons for dash?
I just wanted to give people options. Right now,
I actually wouldn't do that. I think I would just make it 1, because it made me think that there were like 3 dash moves. I think also like you don't need to have. Let's see. First, click the. I would have the player move into separate rooms and then do one thing at a time. As opposed to trying to learn
instead of having
here.
this one. Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
Well,
you should have it so you have to dash in an actual I think it's a lot better if you just have actual things for me to dash through. You know,
Through,
like
yeah, okay.
you should design the level for each thing that you want to teach
Yeah,
the player.
absolutely.
Because, like, first click the aim reticle directly above you, right? It's like, well, if I just had something above me, shoot.
All right,
it's a lot
give the
easier.
player an actual task to complete with
Right.
that ability.
Oh, so it's not going away even though I've shot it.
You have to be right clicking. Right click, not left click.
Right clicking is the I think it said left click.
Okay, so I have to edit this text. I have to edit this text to make sure it says right click. Can you? Okay, yeah, there you go. That's what I
Yeah,
wanted to do.
pretty sure it was saying left click, or well, maybe the 1X was blocking the text.
Right. And
Yeah.
regardless, I need to clarify it. Hold on, let me write this down. Give tutorial tasks to complete. Tasks to complete instead of having everything all in
Yeah.
one room.
I mean, I think what you can do is, like, as the player comes in, right, like, I think you should check out Axiom. You played Axiom Verge?
I haven't yet.
Yeah.
I haven't yet.
Because that one has a similar, and I think that one does a much better... Because the problem is, like, I just feel trapped in that first one, and I was, like, reading all this, and it'd be a lot better if it's, like, as I come into one room, I feel like I should feel like I'm progressing.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. That absolutely makes
Yeah.
sense. So this, holding down the left shift, and this is where sometimes people run into a bug that drains their energy way faster than it should.
So the one thing is you have to do shift and forward with it.
You don't. You can just hold shift. There you go.
Does
Nice
the thing
done.
keep getting faster and faster?
Oh, now you're able to go through. No,
No,
it
no.
shouldn't be. It's just you gotta get your timing right.
Really?
And then here's the tough part that I'm trying to balance. So this was inspired by I think it was Tommy from from Team Meat, and he was like, you know, if you want to teach the player something, make them do a thing that you literally cannot. There's no way to get out of that ability unless you get out of that room unless you use that ability.
Right.
And in this case, you're a very interesting user case, Willie, because I see that you keep going backwards, which I have not seen anyone do.
Well, I'm
so maybe
just
when
trying to test that, because the thing is, I actually didn't think I could hold this shift for a very long time. Like,
interesting.
I thought it ended, because normally with dash, it's like, with dash you dash and then you get up, right? And so I thought the dash...
Right. This one is a sustained dash.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was a sustained dash. I didn't know
Right.
those existed. So let's answer some of the questions that people are talking about. I read someplace that you don't want to have a separate tutorial menu item, as people would ignore it, and I 100% agree with what Treeform says, because I actually, when I loaded it up, I went straight to start.
yeah.
I didn't go to tutorial, and I never go to tutorial. It should just be in start. It should just be the first few minutes, first levels. See, also, like, David Kilmer, he thought I had 3 dashes. Right? Like, he thought they were... But no, it's actually just one. It's... Oh, and Treeform says, isn't shift a really
Sticky
bad button
key.
due to sticky keys?
I had never considered that. Thank you for pointing that out.
It is. Main GI says, W to jump is equal to space for me in a platformer.
Yeah. Okay. So shift sticky keys. Ignore tutorial. Got it. Okay, awesome. This is some great feedback here and stuff that I never would have considered.
Oh, so the thing is, you gotta move this menu because the 1X is blocking the text.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. We're the UI is also going to get a complete overhaul.
So press the jump, and I would. Can I roll jump or something?
Yeah. So and what we're working on here is that you played Braid, right?
I have.
Yeah. So Braid's tutorial. Braid doesn't have like a tutorial. It just has it just throws you into gameplay, and if you to show the jump button, it's just like it shows the A button. A lot of that this level is going to get overhauled and have some of that visualization both on the input side and in terms of like the what you actually want to see your character doing here. We're we're gonna have a little graphic showing, the character jumping off the walls, so you see like, oh, this is what's expected of me, and then like
Wait, what
with
do
a
you
little
mean?
video.
I think this one is pretty obvious. You have to do the wall jump, right? Like that's a very
I like to think so, but you know what they say about like game designers and assuming something is obvious. As soon as you assume something is obvious, there's gonna be someone who's like, I don't get it. Well, this is stupid. I quit.
Well, I actually think the problem here is that I didn't. Like, it feels really awkward to do, because you have to do WD, and then WA, and then WD, which is... I don't usually play platformers with the keyboard. But that
okay, so
really
you don't actually... So, to stick to the wall, you don't actually have to... once you're stuck to the wall, you can just tap jump, and you'll jump away from it.
I don't know if I like that, though, because what if you want to jump directly up and not...
Yeah, there's no jumping directly up, like wanting to scramble up an edge. Yeah, we don't have that in that game. That would require. Yeah, I haven't really thought about that, because you'll see there's a replacement for that in the next one if you go to the next little segment. The next segment is teaching you how to do that boost. But you can do that up walls, so that's your substitute instead of jumping up the wall.
So I can do double jump, and then go to the other side, and then... Interesting. Okay, I don't... I feel like I'd have to play with the gamepad.
Yeah.
To know. I'm too used to using gamepad. Yeah, it's pretty standard to disable sticky keys when playing games. That said, having a sustained dash is a poor idea because it reduces player workload to such a light level that they don't feel involved. Okay, I will... Ed Riofer is getting pissed off that I was jumping. I was just trying to, like... No, because I just wanted to get a sense of the feel of everything.
Yeah, no, I understand.
And Nesfero, hello? Nesfero co-programmed this game.
Yeah, Ness went to the same school as Thew. So they went to the same school, and they know a lot of the same people.
Right. Alright, so can I, like, dash up walls?
Yeah. So jump against the wall and then hold the same button. And this one is,
I do
again,
like
timing.
the way this one is. I think out of all the tutorial sections, this is probably the best one because it takes the previous dash, turns it. See, like, okay, this is where I feel I wouldn't want the text, right? Because in terms of introducing concepts and level design, you had the previous one where you're going horizontally across the room, and I had to hold shift to dash. And then this one, when I see it going up, it's like, I wonder if I can hold shift to dash. Like, I didn't, to be honest, I didn't even read the text. Right? And I don't...
Okay, interesting.
I almost never read in games. Right? And
right.
I know it's totally different because, like, you love The Witcher, and I couldn't get past the tutorial of Witcher 2 because there was so much reading.
Right.
I was like, I didn't...
You're right, and you're not the only one.
If I wanted to, like, take a class, I'd enroll in grad school.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, but I think your level design, though, really speaks for itself, and you don't need the text, which is really cool. It's like, my mind automatically was like, I wonder if I can hold shift, and then it was a really cool moment when I did blast upward. And I was like, oh shit, like, oh, I can do that, and I feel like if you tell me to hold shift, then you lose that really cool moment.
Yeah, like in, did you play Shovel Knight yet?
I have not.
Oh, you should play Shovel Knight, because Shovel Knight is fantastic in terms of, like, teaching you wordlessly.
Yeah. So see, that's also cool, right? It's like I can do the ceiling dash.
Right.
Because I can't do it
before, but yeah, I very explicitly tell you via text and everything.
Yeah, and I think you should try to, like, maybe I would just say at the beginning when you're introducing, because I think there are, like, two different things. One is, like, I don't even think you need to tell people for wall jumping. There's, like, the basic functions, like, you gotta use WSD to move. And I think that you should tell people, because otherwise it's like, how are they gonna move left click, right click to do the actions? And I think these are, stuff like this is what I would call, like, techniques, which I think is a lot more fun for people to figure it out on their own.
Right, right, and I think that that would fit better with what you said of having discrete rooms to move through, so that people like feel like, oh, I'm like physically moving. There's that sense of literal physical progression as I like develop these abilities.
Yeah. And you know, the thing with the text box is I don't think you even need, because I see some people are talking about like main GI, right? And I think you actually, if you just have like text with an outline, you probably don't even need a text box. But see, like this is also really cool, right? Where again, it's I know I can't dash across the floor, so let me see if I can dash across the the top. Now, one thing I would do is I would add. You see where the where this beam is coming from? I would put something beneath here and at the top that lets me know
so as a
where
marker,
you're starting, right? And then every time you see that marker, you can see that's where the beam is, and you can plan for that. Because right now it's like, right when it goes over there, I'm like, I can't tell where it is, and I think that's not, I just died needlessly.
And actually, what might be helpful is like maybe like red, yellow, green light, like, you know, in Mario Kart, so you can see like, okay, then now I can like have a visual sense of like what the timing's going to be, instead of just like analog, like looking at the beam timing.
Right. I mean, I think the motion and the sound design for it is really great. Can you just let down be dash? Yeah, why not? Why isn't no? Well, because you have crouch. Yeah. No.
There is crouch right now. Crouch is kind of useless. Also, because there's ceiling dashing and wall dashing, down doesn't really fit with that, you know. Like if you want to jump up, then pressing down to dash like feels really weird. It's something we tested out, and people like it works great if you're only dashing down, but sometimes you want to dash up against the wall.
Man, I think the first thing you got to do though is get rid of the text box. It's like killing me because it just takes up so much of the screen space.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think. Right, so but you were saying down because sometimes you want to dash down. I feel like you can have. Frank, why not? Why do you have sustain dash and not limit the amount of time?
Oh, the time is limited. It's by the energy bar. The dashing consumes energy, and as you dash, you can see the energy is going down.
Ah, I see.
So you definitely can't dash indefinitely.
But the thing is, you can dash across the screen, which I think makes it kind of too long. Because you never. The thing is, you wouldn't want to dash beyond what you can see, right?
Right.
So, like, I don't think it makes sense to have it dash across the screen.
I'll see what you think when you actually get to gameplay, because the levels, the gameplay levels are actually very big, and they're kind of like almost designed like Sonic, where you want to go super fast and chain dash, blast moves together. So you're going from wall to ceiling, dodge horizontally, so you connect to a wall and then go up again like that.
Right. By the way, I think you also need to lock your mouse to the screen.
Yeah. I've been told that before. So you can't click outside if you're playing in.
I think that's just what just happened now. I don't see any seeker enemies.
So the seeker enemies are you actually hit a bug. You definitely hit a bug. The seeker enemies were just the little were the little guys that were attacking you that you just kind of hammered on with your sword. So the skill that I wanted to teach in this room is that while you're dashing, you can click click the mouse button to attack. So do me a solid and do that now. Willie, are you back at the main menu right now?
Yeah, I was. There were like no enemies to kill, so I just.
Okay. So why don't you start game, and I'll explain this. Explain this to you verbally.
So yeah, I mean, okay, but just some feedback about the tutorial is I definitely think, it should just I would just start the game with that tutorial, you know? And that's something I want to do, and what we would need to do is work a little bit of
narrative impulse in the tutorial, which is something I've been planning out. Like,
Right.
yeah,
And
so
as
so
much
so
as
that players have
possible-
some.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, no. Basically, yeah, just to give some narrative impulse, so that people have some urgency and investment in actually completing the tutorial. Like, I don't know, did you play Uncharted 2?
No, I've never played Uncharted.
Okay, so if you play Uncharted 2, the game literally opens with the main character waking up on a train that's halfway dangling over a cliff. And so the tutorial is you climbing up the train as it's slowly like a grrr, creaking off the cliff. And so it is like the most like right from the get-go, narratively gripping and tense tutorial ever. And they present everything you like. This is how you jump. This is how you climb. This is how you do this. But it's all in that immediate context of like, oh my god, this is so important. I better not fuck up.
Right.
So the last ability that I wanted to show you is while you're holding down Shift. You can click the mouse button to shoot, but if you wait for hold down Shift as you're blasting along, just wait just a second. You'll see that little circle fill up on your reticle. Yeah. If you click, then that's when will shoot like a barrage of homing seekers, and I kind of got that idea from exactly from Zone of the Enders. Because Rami Ismail played this game, and he pointed out that going fast is really fun, but while you're going fast, it's really hard to hit anything. And so I was like, crap, how do I deal with this contradiction?
Really?
And then then I thought I was thinking of in Mario Kart. In Mario Kart, if you you can do your little butt jump, and then while rounding a turn, and if you hold down the power slide move. The power slide button, after a second, your exhaust smoke will turn black, and then you release it, and then you have like a little boost. I was like, oh, that delay. There's like an incentive. You can just like mash it if you want, but there's that incentive to do like a skillful delay, and I was kind of trying to emulate that here. And then as it turns out, I went and I played the Zone of Enders 2 HD remake. I played the original Zone of Enders 2 like a long time ago. But I played the remake, and as it turns out, it does an exact same thing. Like, it had embedded itself into my consciousness, and I was like, oh, in Zone of Enders 2, you dash, and then while dashing, one of your attack buttons becomes a shoot homing stuff button.
So I think I have two things. Also about the tutorial is I think so the actual game is like way faster and way more fun than the tutorial. And I think,
okay, that's comforting that you have positive feelings about the game.
And your tutorial is terrible.
It's super slow
There's
and boring.
All this reading, and you have me like in one room, and I gotta hit all these buttons. And there's all these techniques that I'm just and I actually kind of disagree with what Rami said, which if you're using the gun, maybe it's hard to shoot while you are doing, but I just want to do melee. I love this that I can hold shift and dash in midair and just click around, and I feel like that's actually a lot of fun for me. So I don't feel like trying to I don't know if the homing missile is a good thing. That I don't know if I want to be dashing first before I have to do it. Right? Because it's kind of cool to be able to use it, to be able to do that as a whenever I want. I feel interesting. I don't know, and I'm trying to just analyze the movement because it's like when I jump, how am I dashing? Am I I notice I'm able to dash, but is that only when I'm fighting?
So while you are
see that what I just did.
Yeah. Okay, so that you do when you're melee attacking, when you're slashing your sword, clicking right mouse button. If you're holding the directions, you can use that to almost like a third jump, like Smash Brothers style. Like you can use that to cross distances, or go up, or even downwards.
And it's dashing in the direction that I'm pointing in.
Yeah. It should be dashing the direction you're holding WASD in.
Oh, so when I'm using the melee attack, it doesn't matter which way my reticle is pointing.
Right, and so this is something that I'm trying to decide. Is should it be reticle aiming, or should it be when you're on the gamepad, should be left stick. So right now when you're playing on the gamepad, you aim your movement with a left stick, which feels very natural. And right now with keyboard, WASD feels less natural. So I'm thinking that if you're using the keyboard mouse, maybe the mouse will aim. The mouse direction will aim where you're slashing, which I think makes sense. But if you're doing the gamepad, people are used to being like, okay, left thumbstick is directional movement, and so that's what I'm gonna do. So actually, let me write that down, because I kind of just kept that out of, like, oh, it's like WASD is the analog to a left stick. It's gonna do the exact same thing. But now I'm thinking you point out that maybe that doesn't make sense.
It should be like, I should be able to just use right click to move. I don't know, like general direction, like. And like, is there a limit to how many times I can dash when I'm in the air?
The mid-air dash, each sword swing consumes a little bit of energy, so you can't. So that because it's so powerful, I don't want people to spam it.
Right. You gotta fix that. You gotta lock the mouse.
Oh yeah, yes,
Because it's so fast, like people are gonna be.
Yeah.
I've got a 3 monitor setup, and I'm like
a 3 monitor setup. Yeah, oh my god.
It's going like out, left, and right.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that could use some work is I can't tell. I have a really hard time telling what's foreground and what's background. Like I thought I could land on that. It's like, can I land on this top part?
Oh.
Can I land there?
Oh, okay, yeah. Is that okay? So we need to make that clear.
Is that?
Yeah.
Oh no! See, did you wall block me? There's an invisible collider. You're not letting me.
Yeah, there's an invisible collider up there. That's supposed to be the end of the level.
So I don't like invisible colliders. Either you just put a wall, don't, because like that looks like a platform that I can get up to. And I'm flying in it.
Yeah.
Like,
so
you put that there, and players can go, and there's like a secret power up at the end of that.
Yeah.
On the wall, and I think that's like how it should be.
Yeah, so yeah, we need something artistically, like a force field or something there to be like, nope, this is don't even bother. There's nothing here.
The other thing is you've got an upper cap, and I feel like you should not. You should just let me keep going until I run out of energy. I really think so. Yeah, like it feels like, I think just for me, I like really don't like. Hey, Red Bulbs, how's it going? We are with, anyway, for those of you that are just tuning in, we are currently checking out Blood Alloy, and we have its developer and designer, Frank Washburn.
Right here, hello.
Right here, and we are talking with him, and this is still a fairly early build. It's not the final one.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, it's weird, like we're in that phase where we're coming up to content complete for gameplay, like just gameplay functionality, but there's so much left. Like, I was telling Rami this. Rami had put out a tweet asking, like, what's one lesson that you learned, making your first couple of games, and like, you think the hardest part is going to be making the game, and no, it's the hardest part is getting all that work together to ship a game. And as people are pointing out, as you pointed out, getting menus to be clear, getting a really clear, coherent tutorial, a really good UI, all that stuff is so important to like just having a shippable game. And yeah, that stuff is still very much under iteration.
Have you talked about have you thought about a rewind mechanic? Yeah. So like, I think for me, as like a design principle, is never have invisible colliders.
Oh yeah, you hate invisible colliders.
Because it's like I want to go see what's up there, and it feels so good to like fly around, and it's like, what is this? Like, why can I not do it? And it doesn't cost you anything. You don't need to put anything up there, right? But you just have this like, much higher sky, and the player is going to run out at some point, right? And you just let them do that, and it'll like you know, people can see more of that background. Maybe they get to the top of it, and it's like, it's just kind of cool that it's there. It doesn't, right? It just doesn't cost you anything to put that there. You know, you gotta draw the top of the tower, but I think that's like a really liberating moment. And here it's just like oh, like, you know, I feel like I'm trapped when the game should feel super liberating and free. Because I don't feel like I'm flying anymore. I feel like
you're constrained. You're chained down,
and you don't need that. You can just have it. Right?
I think like do you think like even extending that maybe if I even extend that invisible barrier to be significantly higher, just to prevent
an invisible barrier though? Why do you even need it? Why not just let players fly super high up, and at some point it's just sky?
Yeah.
For a long while. Like, why not do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess like, well, what I'm saying is why do you even need an invisible collider there in the first place?
Right. No, you're right. There's no like need for it other than the fact that I don't want players going to the left and right and then going into an invisible fall where they're like, oh, that's the blue screen of you know like an untextured Unity background. I just wanted to hide that.
You just make sure that the background texture covers high enough, because there is a natural. The thing why I don't think you need the invisible collider is that you have a natural height limit. You only can do so many jumps, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So at some point it's like, you know, the maximum height limit that the player can go to, so you can just put the. You know what I mean? You just make sure that the texture goes up high enough to cover that, and then because I don't know, it feels super cool, and like I wanted to do that and do the like, you know, in Batman when he flies up, I think in the first one, and you see the moon, he like goes up beyond the clouds and he does the silhouette against the moon.
Oh yeah.
He like hangs for a moment and comes back down, and I really wanted to do that, but you don't get to do that here, and I think that's like. You're really missing out something special by not having that for the player.
Interesting. Willie, have you played Luftrausers?
I have a bit, yes.
How do you feel about that soft barrier and, you know, the clouds? You can technically go up, but it starts damaging you.
I actually have not played it a whole lot. So...
Okay. Well, in Luftrausers, you know, it's like the game is like a torus, you know, like asteroids, except the top barrier and the top barrier is the clouds and the bottom barrier is water, and you can go into them, but you can't stay in them because your health immediately starts deteriorating. Like instinctively, like how do you feel about that?
Luftrausers different, right? Because you're on the plane and you could theoretically keep going up. So
right. Well, it loops and loops, but yes.
No, but I'm saying it's like because they're a plane. I mean, does Luftrausers have gas that causes you to, like, do you need to refill your gas tank?
No.
Right, so you could, so the thing with Luftrausers, like, they need that because otherwise you just keep flying upwards and there's nothing stopping you. So they need that to damage their health. Right? So that's their solution to not having an invisible collider, but I don't think that applies to your game. I think you should not have a barrier. Like, as in, it wouldn't make sense for you to introduce, like, they introduced it because their plane, the player can keep flying out. Yours, the player cannot keep going upwards. So you just have a maximum limit.
Interesting.
Like, the other thing is I feel like some of the barriers can just be a little bit more, the background can be a bit more saturated. I don't know, like, you don't seem to be a huge fan of the idea. Whereas I feel like that's totally what I'd want to see.
No, it's not that I'm not a huge fan of the idea. It's that you're the only person who's felt this strongly about it, which is not to devalue your opinion. Like they're like, if you find anyone in game dev who has an opinion about something about your game, there will be other people who share that opinion.
That's true,
just
and,
like,
I'm very particular in the way, like for me, it's like I absolutely hated BioShock Infinite because they built this beautiful world and it was invisible colliders everywhere, and to me that's actually like, because it's like, oh, it's supposed to be all immersive, and then the whole time it's like you're just trying to shove a story onto me and force me to go this one way. and you built this beautiful world, and I just want to walk around, and which is why I love Skyrim, right? Because it's like you see the mountain in the distance, and you get there, and that's such like a magical moment for me. I just feel like when designers resort to invisible colliders, they're not embracing those options of letting those magical moments happen. Because you're just like, you know what, I'm just gonna put an invisible wall here and not let you go in there.
Right.
Binray, hello, how's it going?
Binray here is my friend Ben. I used to work with him, and Ben also does some pretty. You and Ben are my two idols for game development streaming.
I think Ben is saying things are easy is easy. Pretty much everything in game dev takes work. And I'm well aware of that, right? I mean, I've been working on my game for 3 years, but I think, but you know, I want this game to be super great, and it's like, I just feel like
I agree. Ben, I don't think Ben was referring to you. I think there's someone else in the chat who, like, I'm sure that everyone here has good intentions, and I'm very thankful for them. Yeah. But someone said, like, oh, the solution to this is easy.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Actually, it's never easy. I feel it's never easy.
Nothing is easy. Every time I'm like, you know, every time I sit down, I try to make myself like a small task list of what I want to do in this night or the next night, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do X. I'm gonna implement X feature for this enemy, and then before you know it, 3 hours have gone by. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I'm chasing down like 4 other bugs that I've discovered. Maybe fixed 2 of them. Other ones are like it's so you know that's just the pitfalls of game development. Like nothing is ever easy. Everything is it takes a significant cost. And Ben and I both spent at least Ben, I think, a bit over me. I'm just a bit under 5 years in AAA development. And yeah, that's like you deal with a lot of people being like, oh, why didn't game developers do this? Just flip a switch in the code, and you're like, not. There are so many dependencies on that. Nothing is easy. So yeah.
Avius pointed out, what's VOD? Is that video? Is that like archive video? Yeah, I haven't. So Wavius just pointed out this example in with Paul. What's that game? BioShock Infinite.
Oh, video on demand.
See, like, look at this thing from The Escapist. BioShock Infinite is in a class of games that only comes around on very rare, very special occasions. Combines fantastic action with story.
I hated BioShock Infinite.
Yeah, player agency. Yeah, and like, this is.
I hated that game so much.
Is the one on the right Dishonored, or what is this game that I'm looking at? Or is that Half-Life?
Yeah, that's Half-Life on the
Half-Life,
right.
Yeah.
Half-Life 2. Yeah.
Yeah, like. I love the mode. Then, like, I haven't totally finished Half-Life 2, but with Dishonored, like, what I love about that is they let you go to places that other games prevent you from doing, and I feel like your game actually has a lot of room for that, which I think is just because you have such, you know why? Because you have such great movement system. Like, by the way, I see like once in a while I get those like crescent shockwaves. What is?
Oh yes. So that's all that happens. That happens when you instead of the homing seekers with the left click, just do that instead. But instead, click right click.
Oh, you mean after dashing for a while?
Yeah. Well, dash for a split second, and then aim and click right click. Yeah. And you'll shoot that big shockwave.
I definitely think the frame rate. I know it's a work in progress. I think it's important to have pretty high frame rate.
What's the frame rate you're experiencing right now?
It's pretty good, but once in a while, like when I'm in the middle of a bunch of attacks, it just stutters a bit, and it's just noticeable because the game is so fast paced.
Interesting. If I see you in person, I'm gonna want to watch. Like I need to watch more people play in person because sometimes what people perceive as bad frame rate is actually my some of my action hit pauses. Oh, yeah, the slow-mo or the hit pauses stacking up together. Because sometimes you'll like do a 3-hit combo on a single enemy, and then everything seems to freeze frame, and then it goes bam, the explosion happens. Right. I like that, but I guess if people are perceiving that as bad frame rate, then I need to address that. Do you know Willie? Do you know Tyler Doak? He's Cast Kicks on Twitter.
No.
He made this great
yeah,
game.
I think that was it. It was your.
Yeah, Aces Wild, and he pointed out that a way to combat that with the action hit pause is to if you're pausing everything, pause everything except for the hit spark. Have the hit spark still animate, and people will see the animation of the hit spark and will be like, "Oh, the game's still running." It's just that it really helps accentuate the hit as like a hit that's impactful rather than like, "Oh, the game is slowing down."
Yes, David Kilmer just pointed out I do have Unity running in the background, but I always have a pretty powerful system, so I don't think that was the issue. I think actually it was what Frank was saying. It's the it's just the
action hit pausing.
Because it did. Yeah. The other thing is, like, I noticed sometimes it's like when I'm jump, it doesn't have the like. Okay, right there. When I was falling down. Oh, I see. I'm out of energy, so I couldn't attack.
Yeah. So actually, that in that regard, I think I might. If you run out of energy, you'll see like little faint sparks coming off of you. I think I'm gonna have to, especially because the game is so fast-paced and the camera's zooming all over the place. I think I'm going to have to make those energy depletion sparks much more obvious and much bigger. So you're like, oh shit.
To have feedback for your action.
Yeah,
right now
absolutely.
It's just like, why isn't the game responding to me? But yeah, man. Other than that, like, I think it feels great and it plays really well.
Thank you. Really hearing that from you, I really appreciate that. Especially the last time you played this game for like that half. So, like, you know, for that 2 minutes that you did, the identity of the game was very different. I didn't have these homing sphere, the home, like, I didn't have the blasting up walls and ceilings. I didn't have the zooming across the sky with the sword attacks. That was when you played the game. I think I had literally just come out of a session with Rami. Rami Ismail had just launched Loot Browsers, so I knew he was going to be very busy. But I was like, Rami, I have a game involving guns and swords, and I want your feedback on it. He was like, yes.
Yeah.
I will give you feedback.
Technique? Like, do you see
Sorry,
I'm like dashing across back and forth on this one platform?
Yeah. I consider that valid. Although, actually, that reminds me, I need to write down.
It's kind of cool. I think it's great that you have these things. Like, yeah, definitely. I think the two things is like. You should definitely lock the cursor in, and I think that should be priority because it's not that hard. I believe.
Yeah.
It's like 2 lines.
That may be one of the few things in game development that is relatively easy.
I am curious, like, so how does it progress from here?
Okay, so right, so this will get into like my quote-unquote vision for the game. Right now, Blood Out, this release is just a score attack shooter slasher. What's going to happen is, you know, I have like an enemy spawner, you know, kind of tracking your progress, tracking the time, how long you've been playing, and it's deciding which enemies to spawn in. I need to work on that because, Willie, are you familiar with the psychological concept of flow?
Yes.
Yeah, so you know,
here too is the other thing where I wanted to go to the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. So and that's another part where I'll either wall that off with something literal and physical with art, or I'll eliminate that in some way. But yeah, with flow, you have that that graph of skill of the player versus difficulty of the task, and flow is that, you know, y equals x, straight line up, and really the best games have, instead of a y equals x straight line, instead of matching that perfectly, it's almost like it would be the equation would be y equals sine x close parentheses plus x. So in that way, you get the sine graph, but it's slowly going up. So you're slowly going above that line, then a little bit below, then a little bit above again, then a little below. So what that is that's slow. That's patterns of tension, being like, oh my god, and then relief. Oh, phew, I'm doing it. So that's one thing I'm working on, and the other is we are currently working on getting the art in for a boss enemy to come in, and once you've done well enough, he's gonna come in and he's gonna fuck your shit up, and he's probably gonna kill you a number of times before you figure out how to how to kill him. The one thing that I want to see is if it's viable or not. Is this whole boosting blasting mechanic. What she's actually doing to adhere to the ceiling or to the wall is she's taking her sword and jamming it into the ceiling and jamming it into the wall. I think might need a clearer animation to convey that. But point being is that right now we have that as an evasive maneuver. I want to have that as an offensive maneuver. So you're gonna have like a giant enemy come in, and he's gonna have like big plated armor. You're gonna be like, all right, screw you and your plated armor. I'm gonna jam my sword into your arm or whatever, flare my jetpack, and that's gonna tear off his plated armor to real weak points. And so that's the kind of thing that we're working on right now.
I see. I definitely think some of the animation, I'm definitely noticing it now. That pause animation is actually what's making it not feel stuttery. That felt I don't think that felt good. And you should I think probably like you shouldn't pause the player. Just to avoid a game feel thing. I also would love to see more projectile enemies.
Yeah. Right now we have a lot of melee enemies, and I think this build that you have, I don't know if you actually encountered them. The build that you're running right now may not have the little swarmer enemies in. Oh yeah, you do. They're the ones that are kind of like hovering there. So actually, Willie, tell me, have you noticed anything interesting about the behavior of those little tiny enemies that are like flocking around and pursuing you?
They shoot down. They do like a dive once in a while.
Not those. Oh yeah. Not those ones. Those ones that are they're more numerous, and they just kind of don't anything. They just kind of try to go and touch you. Yeah. Oh man, I need to fix that. So what I did for those guys, so that guy, he's trying to evade your shots. I don't know if that's fun or cool or just annoying. I need to figure out which one it is, because some people are like, oh, that's amusing that they try to dodge your attacks, but it's also kind of annoying. And then I also put this thing in where they're trying to swarm in and just close in on you and just touch you to death. If you take out your sword, they immediately stop that behavior, and they just kind of like go slightly away, and they wait for you to put your sword away. I don't know if that's like noticeable or not in this thing. I don't know if actually maybe putting the controller type to joypad will actually. I don't know if I actually have that hooked up in this build. Maybe.
Well, I do really like the graphics.
You like my very. I just spent hours, on that keyboard mouse there. It's.
I think Main Jet was making fun of my professionalism.
Okay.
Not you.
I tend to curse like a sailor.
To main menu.
Hit down. Oh, it's not letting you go down. Try exit. Sorry, not escape.
Escape. Yeah.
Oh, escape. That's not good. Oh, okay, hold on. I'm looking at the Google Hangouts. Okay, there you go. Got it.
Yeah, like I think maybe I would. You know what I do is do you have a MIDI controller?
Oh, I don't. Is it your MIDI controller solution with Matthew about tuning various variables?
Yeah, you gotta do it. I think for this game, where the game feel is so important, you gotta, because it's like, and it's pretty good now, but I think it can definitely be a lot better, and I think that's gonna like, that this game is all about game feel, right? That like, that thing when you come out of that dash, it feels so good, and you just wanna make sure that you just want to make sure, like, it feels really great when you do get something, so you just want to make sure you get it perfect.
Right, absolutely.
I do think it's great. Like, I'm having a ton of fun, and it feels awesome.
Well, I appreciate that.
And I can see once you get the music, and then the invisible collider's letting me go up and come down and do the, like, I love that also, because with this it's like, okay, now I don't want to do melee, right? So now I'm like trying to shoot that guy. It's kind of cool. Like I think having these enemy types that are forcing me to. But you gotta fix the mouse thing,
the mouse click out.
That's just like that's completely just break. That's like making it almost unplayable.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Um,
Yep. And actually, I had a couple abilities before that required you to actually duck, and right now ducking doesn't do anything. So I think I just need to take out ducking. Willie, quick question: which build are you running? Are you running the first one I sent you, or
No,
running the newer
one?
one?
The newer one.
This is the newer one. Okay,
Yes.
Then I need to fix some things. I need to remove ducking. Remove ducking because it doesn't do anything. So why have it? Remove ducking.
Yeah, and I definitely think having... I don't know why you have this, I don't know if I would choose this light red color. I would choose something a little darker. It feels too much like the background. Like, you see how... You see this... Okay. Does it lock my mouse when I'm in pause?
Yeah, it's keyboard only, so I need it. That's another thing.
Okay, in the background you can see that there's... Yeah, I would not do that. I definitely would have the mouse here.
Oh, you mean the red on the buildings?
The red on the buildings is darker. It's more saturated than the red you have here.
Okay.
And like,
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yeah. That's distracting.
Visually,
Yep.
it's like you need more contrast between the foreground and the background.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Skyscrapers. I think someone pointed out that there was a great Gamasutra article saying that your game should be legible and readable if
Black and white?
yeah, exactly, when black and white. And I don't think that passes this test.
Yeah,
right now.
I don't think so either.
We need to fiddle with the values because, as you pointed out, especially in the upper right corners of the level, a lot of stuff is really confusing as to whether it's geometry or not. Red on the skyscraper in the background is more saturated. It's confusing.
I also think it's kind of weird that you have this here at the beginning. Because like I just want to jump across because I see these enemies and then it's like, oh, so I can shoot them on the other side, but they can't. I totally just shot a bunch across the screen. Oh, so just from a level design standpoint, it seems kind of weird to have this barrier right in front of me at the beginning.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like, the first thing I want to do is like jump, and then I'm like, what? Like, I've done it a few times now where it's just like, why am I stuck here?
Yeah, I wanted to have something. I really like. People have responded really positively to the transition between dashing, really via going directly from wall to ceiling, or if you go to the right
also,
of the level.
Are there no power-ups? Are there no health power-ups?
There are power-ups. You have to get to a 10x multiplier. If you get to a 10x multiplier, an arrow will appear on the UI pointing out where it is in the level, and it slowly decays. You can stop its decay by killing enemies.
Why not have enemies drop health once in a while?
Because I wanted to give a concrete reason for you to race across the level.
I see. Okay, good point.
So originally it was the art right now is just their orbs. They're just energy orbs of health. And then people pointed out to me that I think it's Defender or the old version of Resogun, basically, going left to right and just picking up enemies. Like picking up a stick figure already feels more narratively important than collecting an orb, right? So one of the items on our task is they're not going to be health orbs. Is that when you get to a 10x multiplier, the robots are like going to take a hostage or something, and they're going to start teleporting away like a human, and so you have to race across the level, find that person, shoot, attack the device that's capturing them a couple times, and then when you touch them, you rescue them, and then that gives you a little bit of health because video game reasons.
Where is he? I'm at 10x.
There you go, to the left. There it is. That's it. Just attack it once or twice, and you should be able to collect it just by touching it.
I think so.
Yep, you got it. Yeah. Yep. And if you manage to get one of those and collect it when you're already at full health, it's a pretty massive point bonus.
So are there other levels in the game besides this one?
Yeah, there are. Right now we have 3. We have another one complete that still has that little geometry complete that's still getting a little bit of.
The other thing, I think here's another visual issue where I can go across here, but that's a wall.
Right. Yes, and
that's weird to me. So,
right, absolutely. I agree.
Right. It's like, does this thing just come down? That feel kind of weird, right? This looks like a platform that I can jump on.
Right. I agree that is confusing. And so here, this level actually, I think, represents a failure in process. There are some parts of as raw geometry, I happen to like this level a lot. Like I think this level provides a lot of fun opportunities for interesting chaining of abilities and stuff like that. However, the artist who is working with me on this level, he will attest to this. This level was a nightmare to develop because what happened is I basically developed the level geometry in a vacuum, and then we had an idea of like what physically was supposed to be in the level, but then trying to create like a coherent piece of level geometry that kind of like had some semblance of level design storytelling, while adhering to this, like, oh, there's like, I put this giant T here. Why? Like, what are we gonna make out of that? That was so difficult. It took so long. It was such a pain.
Is this is everything tiled? Like, how's your process for designing things? Because I think that's actually something really important to work on, is having the right tools. To
right tools and process
super fast.
Right, and so what I did here basically was I developed this in a vacuum, and then me and my artist went back and forth. It's like, okay, what is this collection of geometry? What can we make this? And we would go back and forth, and that was actually really hard and really excruciating.
Really?
It was really tough because we had this idea for a ruined factory, but it's like, okay, so
but why not? But don't you think the focus should just be to make the geometry as much fun as possible?
I agree, but you know, why? Like if like I like the visual style of the game, and I like as a huge nerd boner for the pixel art that I have.
But I just feel like it's so easy. Like if you have random shapes, you can always make them work.
Right,
you know?
right. But like for example. One of the levels that we just completed is a jungle level, and so I created this thing. I was like, okay, these are gonna be branches here. This is gonna be the jungle floor. These are gonna be trees. And then I would go back and forth with my artist, and then we have discussions. Like my artist would generate like a piece of thing. I'd be like, no, this doesn't work for a jungle because there's not enough sunlight to get through here. So a plant of this type, of this variety, won't grow. And he'd be like, but it's not planet Earth anyway. I'm like, but I'm gonna stickler for these things because I'm an asshole. And so, like, balancing all that together was really tough. Because, like, I'd be like, okay, if we're on the ground floor of the jungle, there's not a lot of sunlight, there's really poor soil. What kind of plants are we gonna see there? We're gonna see ferns. We're gonna see this, and you know, stuff like that. And that also translated to this level because my guy had my buddy Alex. He's on Twitter. He's actually. Let me get his Twitter handle because he actually tweets out to
Because I really think that you should. Like, I think those are all good points with the world building, but ultimately I think it should be gameplay first. So why I think the process of designing everything gray boxing, and if that feels like a great level, then it should be trying to make it work from an artistic standpoint. That's the design challenge, right? But you don't want to get doing that too early, and like that's one of the reasons why I don't think it's good that I don't have. When I used to have a narrative for the game, for my own game relativity, I was just throwing out a ton of really great ideas because I was like, I couldn't make them work from a narrative standpoint. And then now making everything very abstract, it's like I'm able to just focus on what works really well as a game and not have
absolutely right. I agree. I agree completely. The one of the I guess quote unquote issues is that the original scope of this game was supposed to be a story-driven Metroidvania,
right?
And so a lot of what we're doing here is kind of like building up to that sense of scope, and likewise for the world. So we want to keep that world stuff. So we are balancing that. This level has to be fun. The geometry has to allow for interesting technique usage, but we want to have things be coherent in a in a narrative way. And like for everything I've seen from from my time in AAA, from my knowledge of other people in AAA where they do that constantly, that's a really, really tough process. And this is like my first game that I'm working on by myself. Like, well, not
I guess
by
I just
myself.
feel like that's an easier problem to solve than not having good gameplay at first. It's like if you don't have good gameplay, then
I almost feel it's more difficult to solve, especially given that I'm not doing the art. Because the best I can do is say like this is what's in my head, try to translate that onto paper, and then we'll go back and forth and iterate that. And as things that work in my head, even if they translate them perfectly, as I see them like how they look visually, I'm like, oh, what I had in my head doesn't work for reasons X, Y, and Z. And so yeah, and like some things that we've pointed out already about the problems with this level. It's like, okay, we want this. I want this. Part of my desires for this game is like, it's so far the game is decently gifable, which is great because like GIFs are a great means to spread the word about the game. Everyone loves a good GIF. And part of that is I feel like it's because we're trying to put in a bit of a focus for good level art, but balancing that desire to have good level art against gameplay is really tough. As you point out, you on the upper right hand corner of the level, you're like, okay, there's these objects here that are like, they form the foundation of a building. They're the lights that are hanging from like a ruined building, and they look like you should be able to walk and run on them. And like, so that's something that we have to like contend with. Both.
What I mean is there's so many interpretations, right? Like for example, look at this thing. So I've got that red block at the top of this vehicle, right? And that's clearly now just for the purpose, if we're just purely looking at geometry, you just have a floating rectangle.
Right.
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 So here you've made that a vehicle, but it's like now why is it that one part of the vehicle I can touch but the others can't?
Right.
And it's like, well,
there is no reason.
And you could have done it another way. You could have made this like a tower. Or just like some kind of floating platform because it's a future, whatever, right? And so what I mean is like there's so many different solutions, but what is cool about this is that it's letting me do this technique, sliding back and forth on it. And like, maybe it had something coming down from the top, right? Maybe it had like this pillar from the top that comes down, and that's the bottom of it. And even if that is the case, then it's like, why? That's still letting me do the same function. Like it could be just some random bottom. It could also be this, right? Like it's the same thing as this. This has the same function as the vehicle, and in some way makes more sense than the vehicle. Like just having the wires coming in. So I guess that's just what I mean. Like getting the right visual to fit it is to me secondary than having really great geometry that just lets you do stuff. Like if you have really great geometry, then you just be like, I mean, I'm not saying that it's easy to find the right visual, right? Because I think like, this is a good example where both of these really are the same. They're both just floating rectangles. One of them you have this cart, and it does look cool, but I don't think it's visually as clear. Because it's like I can't walk on the car, but I can do this, but this feels like very, very coherent with the art style and the world. Okay, so that's cool, but this just goes to show that there's like a huge number of ways in which you can solve that problem.
Right. It's just that like yes, but. Creating this level was so painful that it's something I just don't want to repeat again. Yeah, it was really bad. So what we did last week I did a game dev stream of the process of gray boxing out our city cyberpunk level. And so what I did is I spent an hour talking in gray boxing level, and what my intent now is to everyone on the team. If you want to play it and let me know what you think, I'm more than happy to send you a build as well. Basically, anyone who's interested, get feedback on them, and then like we have some loose narrative constraints. Like, did you see the Fifth Element?
Oh man, someone just said I think this Asian guy is completely retarded.
Wow, that's not very nice. That's very. That's
Where
very
are my
unpleasant.
moderators?
Yeah. Also, I don't know what he's talking about because I'm half Asian, so F you too, dude. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so right now we're starting we're starting more pure geometry, but with some kind of starting out with the mindset of having a good idea of like just a loose idea of what different segments of the level are different segments of the level are going to be when the level is complete. Like this is a building that you can go inside. Here's a tower here. If you've seen The Fifth Element, there's a segment in The Fifth Element where there's a bunch of floating cars and a traffic jam. Where so like on the right hand side of this level, there's a bunch of floating cars. You can jump from car to car, and you risk falling into an endless pit. And so like with that constraints, that's a loose enough narrative constraint that I can still have like a lot of freedom to play around with the geometry, but my artist still has like a lot of lead time to be able to figure out what's going to go where, start prototyping art and buildings, etc. Around, and yeah, exactly. Oh, the Swersy message deleted. Nestfro, I knew it. Main GI is Main GI one of your mods?
Main GI is one of the mods. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. And so he banned them. You banned.
I banned them. I just.
Yes. Good on you and Main GI. Keep mean people out. It's not a.
Yeah, I guess like now the stream's gotten. It's not like super big or anything, but it's big enough that.
You got some viewers. Yeah. Willie, how far do you want to go? I have to go in like a couple minutes.
Cool. Yeah, I mean it's almost 10, so I think we're wrapping up. But so.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I mean that I hope this was helpful. I think it's like super cool.
No, it absolutely was.
There's like a ton of really. I think the game feel is like it's great and it's almost there. Just a few minor tweaks.
Yeah, need tweak. Did you have Dual Hammers on your show a couple weeks ago?
I did.
Yeah. He mentioned that he had some very specific game feel tweaks, some feedback. So thanks to your feedback, and hopefully his feedback is clear and harsh. So like.
Right.
What do they say about that Jimi Hendrix quote? Like I like everyone likes compliments, but ultimately they're distracting. Like that's right. That's true. Oh, just because I have access to it, I'm gonna post this Imgur link in the comments because, like you, the game has come a long way since its thing. So actually, Willie, you can go ahead and click that if you want to show everyone what the game looked like 2 years ago versus what it looks like now. And here's a more clear
One of
screenshot.
These days you should send me the old build.
Oh man, that would be terrible. That would be terrible. Yeah, it's kind of amazing because you experienced this too when you're like in 2013, you're like, oh, the gameplay's good, I have great ideas, like blah blah blah, and then you're like, why? What are these ignorant people telling me? Why don't they see the true genius of my game? And then 2 years of listening to and accepting feedback later, hopefully we both have games that we're better off for criticism.
Yeah. I do, yeah. I think it's super cool. I'm really glad I got to play it. It's clear you've like put in a ton of work, and yeah, I think a lot of the stuff I said they're more like design philosophy things.
Right. And I do value that, and some of the stuff that people are pointing out. I'm glad that I have some validation to know that I'm not completely off base. For example, the fact that why have the tutorial completely segmented? Like it's like for example, like some semblance of a tutorial is kind of necessary because without some explanation of at least what the buttons do, like you're gonna die very very quickly. But I've been kind of like when we were at Indiecade and at GDC, Sony's been really great about having those little kiosks that feature like Titan Souls and Jamestown and whatever. So my immediate goal, one of my short-term goals is like, oh dude, I want to get Blood Alloy on a Sony kiosk. But to do that, like if you think about the kiosk like audience that you're trying to cater to someone with no experience, without you there to possibly help them. They need to learn how to play your game and come away from it with a positive experience in like 5 minutes or less. And so that's only going to happen in a kiosk build if I integrate a tutorial directly into the narrative, so that people are like, no one's going to want to be like, oh, I'm going to play this game, it looks cool. This tutorial where I just have to read things and stay in this one small room that's trapped. Like, yeah, thank you for pointing out the room. That's super important. So
yeah, and the thing is, it's like your tutorial was so slow, and yet the game was like so fast and so much fun that like. Yeah. And I actually feel like your game, I think it's because it's like super actiony. You actually don't need a huge, like a super intense tutorial. Like I think you can actually keep that pretty short and get them in.
Yeah, I think that'll help with once we have some of the visualization of the controls. For example, like just having a visual like a. Did you play Mark of the Ninja, Willie?
I did, yes.
Okay, so in Mark of the Ninja, they just show you, like, oh, to do this ability, they show, like, a graphic of Xbox controller, hold this button down and hold this button down. Just having that graphic is, like, that, instead of reading something, which takes, you know, like 6 or 7 seconds to read and then understand, you just instantly have a graphic, and you're like, okay, this is what I do. So that's been one of the things that we've been working on, and then we'll integrate that into the tutorial system, where it's like, okay, instead of, like, these stupid text boxes that people are ignoring, that's obscured by my shitty placeholder UI. Like, we're just gonna have graphics and visualization, and then as you know,
and,
as you
like,
said,
you don't even need to say like press this button to move, right? If like you just show the button icon and people start moving.
Yeah. People will press it and be like, oh, that's what that does. Cool, right?
And so Binray, that's Ben, right? That's Yeah, I'm glad you found it interesting, and Nesfero, thanks. I'm really glad to hear that you're excited about Relativity. And so that was Blood Alloy we were checking out. You can go to the website bloodalloy.com, and Frank.
Yeah, we're actually.
Frank
sorry, go ahead.
Wash.
Frank, yeah.
I've always wanted to ask you, why do you have the Y?
It's because me and one of my college friends are idiots, and we like to talk weird. Like, okay. there's no reason. I just wanted to make it more difficult for people to find me on the internet because I'm stupid like that. Right. That's why we named our company Suppressive Fire Games, so that in every single legal document I ever get, there will be a typo where there's like one too few or too many letters in the word Suppressive Fire. So. And the company
Twitter is Suppress F Games.
Suppressive, because there's not enough characters allowed in a Twitter handle for Suppressive Fire. So, like, even Suppressive Fire. So,
what about Suppress Fire?
Shut up, Willie. Shut up. You and your you and your good ideas.
But man, thanks so much for coming on and for sharing the game.
Thanks for having me, Willie, and thanks for all your critical and feedback. And you have a great audience here. A lot of people were giving great feedback right along with you. Main GI, you're the man. Who else is the man? I'm going to do a quick scroll up. A lot of people are the man or lady really cool in here. Stuff. And then Treeform, I think, had some really good points, and I appreciate your stuff, Treeform. Wavius, you're right. Yeah, so again, thank you anyone who's commented in to, criticize my stuff and help me get my game get better. That's the only way things get better is you criticize them.
Yeah, and I guess you can always watch this video and then actually see what the chat is saying if you miss it. Like on the archive, because the chat is recorded as well. So this is the most
surprise. Surprise! I get it. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Well, okay, thanks a lot, Willie, for tuning in, for watching, and if you like the stream, make sure to follow and check out Frank on Twitter or ask him questions. And
I appreciate
we'll see you all on Monday. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend, Frank. And
take care, man. We'll stay in touch.
See ya.
All right. All the best, guys. Peace.